Hi! Welcome to another episode of Worth It Wednesdays. God, if you've gotten this far in Worth It Wednesdays, I applaud you for sticking with it. Because, you know, it's hard. This is hard. This is hard work. I've often thought that taking a non-weight specific approach to health is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And it feels kind of weird and even embarrassing to talk about that because, like, I've done a lot of hard things, you know? I've had 2 kids. I've pushed 2 babies out of my vagina. That's hard. I traveled a lot alone. I went to Southeast Asia alone in my 20s. That was really freaking hard. I've been married for 18 years, almost. 17 this year, or 17. Anyway, being married for a long time, making it work, it's hard. Doing a lot of hard stuff. But I do feel like this one particular thing, this one shift in my own mentality is quite possibly the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And I'm still doing it. It's not like I've even come to any kind of like finish line. It's really freaking hard every day. And the only reason I keep doing it is because the alternative feels absurd and feels to me now like, what was I ever thinking? And so I just chug along. But holy crap, it's hard. Anyway, I have this oil today called Humility. And, it's funny. I know I'm always oiling up on these videos and I'm talking about oils. And I mean, oils really, holy moly, they're fantastic. So, make fun of essential oils all you want. I know it's a passing phase, but I'm very glad it passed my way because they have been incredibly helpful in my life. And Humility is one of those blends that just, oh my God, there's a lot of oils in this blend that I absolutely love. There's Northern Lights Black Spruce, which seems to be in everything I love. Ylang Ylang is also another one. I don't know how you pronounce that. Ylang Ylang. It sounds like an old 50s pop song. Ylang Ylang, do up, Ylang Ylang. But anyway, it's, God, I freaking love it. It's got frankincense, Melissa, of course. Everything I love has Melissa in it. But I've been feeling like, I used to be really like, sort of like, what are these oils? I never really was into these like, humility. Would you like some humility in your life? Use these oils. This one's good for that. Or like, I don't know. It just felt weird, like snake oil. But like, I definitely have been going through a couple days where I was like, enough with the freaking oils. I don't need them. I hadn't been using my diffuser. I hadn't been putting them on. And just like, noticed that I was really cranky and suddenly was sort of like, oh wait, I haven't used them in a couple days. Maybe if I start trying to use them again, I won't feel like such an ass. And lo and behold, humility. So yeah, where was I? Oh, really hard. So it is really hard. And, I was actually met last Friday with this wonderful, wonderful woman who is also local. And if you might even know her, her name is Melissa Sacalario. I'm going to put a link to her group, Shameless Nutrition, which I think is so brilliant. But I was really, really excited when I discovered her because not only is she also intuitive eating and HAES related in her work. So she is a colleague in that way, but she's also a registered dietitian. She's badass. She's got great posts and she lives in my town and her kids go to my school. So when I discovered this woman, I was so excited to have somebody in the flesh that I could talk to because, so much of my own recovery in terms of diet recovery, and I say recovery because I really do feel like once you kind of stop thinking about dieting like it's some sort of like healthful eating that you're supposed to be doing, and really start looking at it as disordered eating that you need to recover from. But a lot of my recovery was based on national podcasts and authors from places that were nowhere near me. And I really sort of felt very much alone swimming upstream. And so to see some person that in the flesh that I could actually talk to was so amazing. And so we sat down and we just kind of shared our own stories and talked about how freaking hard this is and why it feels like you're swimming upstream. You're swimming in this ocean of Oprahs and weight related messages. And, you know, sometimes there are days where it just feels like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I bothering? Am I even healthy right now? Like, I don't even know what health is. All I know is that when I was pursuing health by constantly weighing myself every single morning and having my entire day be dictated by how my mood from that one weigh-in, and, you know, restricting and restricting and restricting and all of the stuff that came from that, the binging, the shame, the looking at pictures of myself and still thinking I looked fat, and just all of the, you know, all of the bullshit that comes along with the dieting and being focused on weight and losing complete track of what actually was healthy in my life. It felt like it. I mean, it's kind of radical to stop that. And, you know, this isn't just to like pat myself on the back and be like, oh, what I'm doing is so hard, it's so great. But it is just to sort of, I think, also acknowledge the fact that if this seems like you try and try and try and try and it's just not working and you still feel like shit, you know, that's kind of means it's working, you know, or at least you're certainly not alone. I mean, I've tried and tried and tried and tried and still often feel like crap. And, you know, I haven't solved anything. I think, you know, what I am trying to do with Worth It and my messaging and my videos and all of this stuff is just to let people know that there is an alternative out there. And if you feel like crap all the time, and if you're feeling like you're on your 85th diet and you're sick and you can't even fathom counting another point or a calorie and there's got to be a better way, I just want you to know that there is. And I know that it's super, super scary because it's not probably going to be the end-all be-all answer that's going to solve everything and solve all of your problems, and you'll lose weight too. But, you know, it is the way that kind of makes the most sense to me. And so everything else feels inauthentic. So, you know, this is how you just keep trudging along. And where was I? I completely lost track. I actually came on here to talk about Taylor Swift and Miss Americana, but because, you know, I had watched that watched that Netflix documentary because I had heard that she talked about body image, and she does. And if you're a Taylor Swift fan, I recommend watching it. You know, if you're not a Taylor Swift fan, I don't know why you would watch it, but, you know, she does talk about her body image and how, like, she was heavily restricting in order to be as thin as possible. And she acknowledges the fact that even though she was all about, you know, exercise and healthy living, like, she was starving herself. And I love the fact that somebody like Taylor Swift is saying what actually is going on and what was going on in her life, and is now at a point where she says, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And I am, you know, if she sees a picture of herself and she thinks she looks fat and she's got a fat tummy in it, like, she thinks, you know, her first thing is like, oh, I got to cut back, I got to restrict. And then she stops herself and she's like, no, we don't do that anymore. And so I love the fact that she's, you know, very public about this and very open about this. But I got to admit, like, I'm so entrenched in diet culture that when I saw her at recent award shows and she looked like she had gained weight, my first thought was like, oh, Taylor's gained weight, I wonder if everything's okay, you know. And then I stopped myself and I was like, holy shit, like, God, I can't even escape this. Like, we're all it's so entrenched in us, this idea that we somehow have the right to judge bodies by how they look, and judge people's lives by how they look. And I mean, you know, she's a celebrity and she's open, you know, she's basically bought into this idea that people are going to, you know, she's in the public eye, and so, you know, take from it what it will. But, you know, the one thing that really struck me, this had actually nothing to do with her body image, but it was this quote that she said about fame, where she was talking about, you know, she was really young, she was like 16, and there was this interview, and they were like, how's it feel, Taylor, how's it feel? And she was like, well, I think I spent about 5% of my day being like super excited, like, yes, it's finally happening. And then I spend the other 95% of my day making sure it stays that way. And I thought, whoa, that's really sad. And I couldn't help but feel like that is exactly how you would describe dieting and maintaining weight loss. And, you know, feeling like I spent 5% of my time being happy with wearing a smaller size and 95% of my time stressing over what I was going to eat, how I was going to keep this weight off, how I was going to stop myself from binging that night, how I was going to, you know, make sure I didn't gain any of this weight, because it felt like I was completely out of control all the time. And I'm talking really fast because that's how it felt, just so wound up. Anyway, I'm trying to keep these videos short, so I feel like I'm just going to end it. And if you've gotten this far, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing this journey with me. And yeah, go check out Shameless Nutrition, because I think she's awesome. And I think the more help and the more resources we have for ourselves, and the more we open ourselves up to this alternative messaging, the better we feel about the choices that we're making when we live in a society where oftentimes you're sort of like, I don't know if I can do it. So yeah, anyway, if you got any questions, let me know. Anything you want to share, anything, you know, how you're feeling. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling healthy? Are you feeling not so healthy? Are you making choices that you're proud of, not so proud of? You know, let me know how you're feeling. Okay. All right. Well, have a great week, and happy early Valentine's Day. I don't celebrate that holiday. I do not celebrate Valentine's Day. Anyway, I don't know why I threw it in there, but I just, you know, wanted to wish you a happy week. So take care, and lots of love from Katie. Worth it with Katie.